Hello, everyone. How are you? Thank you for coming. Let me see. Hey, Taylor, Jane, you got your mic. How are you? Hey, Lilip, how are you doing? Junior, Marco. Sorry, let me turn my microphone off of my computer. That sounds bad. Does that sound better? Can everyone hear me okay? Thank
Hey,
you.
Heather, I can hear you.
Okay, great, great. Thank you. Jordan's on his way. Thank you so much for
Awesome.
uh, helping with the co-hosting. I'm
Oh
still
my
getting
God. Yeah,
used to
anytime.
this.
I love it.
Okay, I was just kind of going over things, just trying to figure out how much has happened in the last 2 weeks, and it seems like every time it's so much going on, but it's a little bit different now this time, I think, because of some of the changes, and we're not sure what's happening, like with Chat GPT, when they'll implement that monthly payment and how that will affect all the apps that are have it integrated right now. So that'll be interesting to see. But there are so many new products and just different things that are there's a lot of combination products out there. I've noticed. I did want to mention because it seems like a lot of people, a lot of apps and platforms, they are integrating just everything, not just the Chat GPT. They have image, different things for generating images, for AI writing, productivity, collaboration, social media marketing. There's just so much stuff going on at one time. Animation, videos, minting, marketplaces, everything. So it'll be interesting. But I guess I will go ahead and get started. And let me see here. Welcome to everybody that's coming, and I really appreciate you all being here. Hey, Rob, nice to see you. Thank you for coming and spending Friday afternoon with me. And my name is Heather Cooper, and I write about AI, AI art, generation, different types of generative AI products, and productivity, and just try to keep in. I like making visuals. I want to teach everyone how to make visual content. I love it. And also, not just that, but also web design, making all your web content visually appealing and easy for anybody to understand. And that would even be with your writing, your text, the placement of your headers, the organization of your copy, everything that all plays into the visualization of the information that we are putting online. So it helps to make it more accessible to everybody and across different languages and different types of backgrounds. So I'm going to send the mic to Jordan real fast, and I will finish. But so my name is Heather, and Jordan Parker is my co-host. Also Taylor Peterson, who is from The Sauce and the Food Fight Studios, and she's an experienced podcaster. Also, not that I am. She's here as well to help me co-host. But we're all going to just talk about different things that have to do with what's happening right now on Twitter and social media in general, and what's going on with AI, because it seems like every right now that's really the only thing that's happening in our space here in Twitter as far as content creation. So there's just so much to talk about, and just to find out ways that we can use it to make our jobs. We want to be able to use it to be more effective, increase our productivity, and make ourselves some money. That would be a nice thing. So all these things work together, and that's what we're going to work on talking about and exchanging some ideas for that. So you can help everybody here. I appreciate if you use the emojis, and thank you. I see a lot of people using them. It helps us understand if people are if it's resonating, if we can hear, if everybody can hear us, and we'll just anything. If you have any questions, I'd appreciate if you drop them into the comments for the chat. Um, I thought I started typing something in there, but I didn't end up sending it. But please use the chat below this to go ahead and drop in any questions. If you have links to any information that you want to share, or tips, or products and apps that we haven't talked about that you want to bring up, please put it in there, and then we'll just keep it there as like a repository, a library resource for anybody to come back to later. So I'll be putting some resources in there shortly. But please feel free to ask the questions there. You can DM me. I try to go back and forth some while we're on the call, but we will definitely try to get to any questions. And let me see here. I will go ahead. Taylor, did you want to say something since you were here? And I'll put something
Yeah,
in
no,
there.
thank
Uh huh.
you, Heather, for having me in. I know we had a great spaces yesterday as well, so I'm excited to keep the conversation going about what's happening in AI. I know that I've got personally quite a few questions, and literally as I'm on this space, I'm in Decipher AI, which you told me about this week, and I'm parsing down the spaces chat from yesterday. So no, I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me, and I hope that we have a bug free spaces, because spaces has been a little bit crazy lately. Sometimes there's some talk over. Sometimes it's like you can't hear other people. So if we have any of those issues, feel free, I guess anyone here, to just get our attention if you can't hear or if you can't speak.
Yeah, they have been, his faces have been just kind of insane lately. So yeah, hopefully I will be able to stay on here the whole time. And if not, that's why I have two co-hosts. So maybe if you guys can grab the call if something happens, I'd appreciate it. But yeah, it's been very buggy, and that's not the only thing going on Twitter. But whatever, we'll see. Jordan, did you want to say anything? Thank
Sure.
you.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining once again into this almost weekly space. Almost weekly because it's better to keep you surprised and guessing what's going to happen next, of course, not because we didn't organize ourselves perfectly. And yeah, I'm very excited to share a few things about ChatGPT, a few things about Midjourney, and let's see what happens. Back to you.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm putting in the chat right now the one thing I definitely wanted to do today, because Matt Wolf has an excellent resource called Future Tools, and it's everything AI. It's like the most comprehensive resource I have found, and he has everything on there. I don't know how he finds the time to go through all this stuff, but I rely on him for, just links for that, between that and his YouTube channel. That's how I've been staying on top of things. Plus, Product Hunt had the voting for the best of everything last for 2022. So they were featuring a lot of different things. But I get a lot of information from Matt Wolf's Future Tools, tons of stuff, and it's just so helpful. The way he has it organized, because you can filter and go through categories, and it's just really neat and has a lot of different information on there. He's going to start allowing people to upvote. You have to maybe I think he's going to have people register to, just so they'll be like a user, not to pay anything, but he's trying to help control the upvoting and make sure that remains fair and has accurate information from the founders and from users. So that is a great site to use. And there are many other ones like that. But I think his is honestly the most comprehensive, and I just love it. I used a lot. But we had, yeah, several tools that we came across this week. And Decipher, it may have been out for a while. I'm not sure, Taylor, but I thought it was interesting. But Decipher is a new tool that you can upload your audio or video file or transcript for your podcast, and including these spaces when they're recorded. And it creates a really extensive summary. It'll have a summary, a time stamped transcript, and then it even prints quotes. It generates quotes, uses AI to generate quotes pulled from your transcript, which is pretty cool. So you can repurpose that information very quickly, so that if you want to add some of it into a blog article, or if you want to tweet about it, it has it organized in that way. So it's all free, and it does it fast in about 60 seconds too. So you can download it in a PDF format, or PDF, Word, or text file. So that is pretty cool. And that is one that I think I tweeted about earlier this week. I'm going to drop some of these in here later. I don't want to add a bunch, like one at a time. That will help some. But Decipher is a great one. Rephraser is another one that is really useful. It just has it's a free tool, and it rephrases like up to 500 characters of text. It uses OpenAI's API, and you can just kind of drop in a tweet, a whole tweet, just put it in there or a couple, and let it rephrase it for you, and it's pretty good. It does a pretty good job of that, and that's another free one. Let me see, Dectopus, is it octopus? Dectopus is another one. It has Chat GPT prompt templates for product launches. That one is, you go to Matt Wolf's Future Tools, which I dropped in there, and you'll see that. And it's if you send your email in, and then they'll download a bunch of Google Docs or something. I forget how it'll come to you in your email. But I did this myself, and it had some very useful information that it's prompts that you can tailor towards your product launch, so that you can go ahead and prepare for that and have the information you would need to provide to the investors or your team, however that's going to be, even for marketing. So that is a pretty cool one. And that was also in Product Hunt. Let me see. Birdie, I don't know if anyone uses Birdie for their Twitter profile testing, the A/B testing. It's pretty popular. They added that Twitter bio tool. I wrote about this last week. It's a pretty cool free tool. If you put in your current bio, or you can just type in a description of what you do, and it will give you a couple of versions of a Twitter bio, which is helpful because who can really write a good bio on their Twitter profile? So that one, you can change the tone if you want it casual or professional or funny, and it's so effective, and it did such a good job that Birdie, somebody mentioned it to them that they should incorporate this into their app, and they did. So that now it's a part of it's just an integrated feature, which is pretty cool if you're using Birdie for your profile testing. Um,
And by the
mhm.
way, I will post a code for discount for Buddy for whoever wants it. I talk to the developer all the time uh, because I kind of really like the app. I started using it day one, and he was super nice, and he gave me a discount code. So I'll share that in a tweet in a few seconds.
Thank you, Jordan. I appreciate that. That was so nice. Yeah, that they just kind of jumped in there quickly, and they were able to go ahead, and because it's really useful. Junior, I see you said you use Otter AI for your daily meetings. Yeah, I've downloaded it, but I haven't even used it yet. So you like it? Let me see. I'm trying to see where if I can see. You do? I've heard it's really good. Does it summarize? Do you want to take the mic? I was just interested to hear how does that work. Let me see if you can. Okay, I'll send it to you. And let me know when you got it, because yeah, I've heard that for a while. It's very useful. It sounds like. Did you get the mic?
I,
Oh,
yeah, I did. Thank you. I
mhm.
appreciate the time, the space,
Yeah.
all the people in here. It's really incredible. Yeah, I use it for. I have a lot of meetings. I work in cybersecurity and deal with a lot of customers throughout the day. So it's just difficult sometimes, in these meetings to track notes a lot of times. So I use Otter. It basically just records the audio, does an excellent job of doing that, and then it processes that, and then it will through its AI, kind of select key things and key words. So if I say something to the effect like, I'll create a task about that, then it will physically, or not physically, but it will create a task in there for me or just highlight it for me. So it does a pretty decent job. It's not the best, but to be honest with you, for just what I need it to just kind of record and keep track of the conversation and key points that a customer will talk to me about, it works fine. So and then again, and I use a couple other tools. I use one integration for emails. So like if I'm sitting there and I don't want to respond necessarily, it will pop out an email for me. So I've got a Google connection to my email for that, which really helps too, because sometimes you're just sitting there trying to think about emails, and I just click on it and say, hey, respond to this, and if it looks good, I hit send, and that's it. So thank you. I appreciate the time on the stage. I'll give the mic back.
Oh, no, I appreciate that. Can I ask you which email app that you were or extension you were using? Is it,
You know
there's
what?
yeah,
Let me
there's so
see if
many.
yeah, there's a
I know.
ton.
It's interesting
I
to
don't
see.
recall right now.
Okay.
I have it on my desktop, and I'm
Oh,
not
okay.
on
No
that
problem. Didn't mean
house
to
right now.
put you on the
But yeah,
spot. Yeah,
it's okay.
I was hesitant to download many or to install many of them because there's so many different ones. So I was just interested to see who's had some success with them. I don't know if anybody else
Yeah,
has. Let us know.
I think it's been great. Like you said, there's a bunch of them. I just picked one. I did some research, and I was like, this one looks decent,
Uh,
and it works for what I need it to do.
oh,
You know, a
okay.
lot of my correspondence is just relatively basic. Hey, I'm getting back to you for this kind of stuff. Da 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 da. So for that, it works out fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, I appreciate that feedback. It helps us understand how other people are using it. Thank you. SC, um, did you have something? Did you want to say something?
Hi there, good evening.
Hey.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening to all. I like the I just found the space, to be honest, and I definitely like the topic a lot. I've been a programmer for about 8 years. In AI, though a lot of people are kind of scared of it or whatnot, I do see it as like an introduction to something simply amazing, to be honest. So, my question is more, and I've got no hidden intention with the question. I hope it's taken correctly, but more around the legalities and ethics of using certain AIs. For example, like the example that I don't know who it was, but the last gentleman that was speaking using Otter AI. Do you guys normally tell the customers, for example, that you're using this AI? And I ask that because if it's going to be processing the sound, that's going to go to a third-party database somewhere in the world. And like I live in Europe right now. I'm Canadian, but I live in Europe, and here the laws are a lot stricter with such things. Like with, I don't know if you guys are familiar with GDPR. I know in Canada and the US, it's not as strict. It's a little more laissez-faire. But what's the approach basically when you guys use such AIs? Do you inform the customers? Or do you just do it and go with it?
And that's a
Okay,
really good question. Okay.
let me answer this
Thank you.
here because I have been dealing with GDPR for a
Okay.
while,
Thank you.
unfortunately. Yeah. So the easiest way to avoid all of that is to move outside of the European Union, to be fair. Like the laws here about this are ridiculous. Even recording calls without someone's permission, I don't think is permitted. You have to really go through uh, permission for every single thing you do, no matter what the usage is. So even if you want to record a call for your personal needs, you have to ask. When it comes to including customers, like if you have to do this informally for your own notes for further company usage, I would just not mention it. If you have to really go through the whole thing, I don't think there is a shortcut besides one going through the full documentation, like to the full terms, kind of checking what kind of data is there. In general, when it comes to those recordings, the AI companies do not have any reason to keep them because they are not a storage company. Like it is expensive to keep that, not because they don't want to. So basically, they don't have a good reason to keep them. So typically, they upload it, they analyze it, and the actual AI doesn't really understand, like quote unquote, doesn't really understand the speech. Like it just connects different patterns together. So it connects your speech to words, but that's about it. So it doesn't know what you're saying actually. And it typically is safe from an engineering perspective. So that's why I would go about it as, not really asking for permission most of the time. If you have to ask it, you go through everything. Uh, we in my company often consult with lawyers to make sure that everything is fine and legal. And yeah, you get into the typical situation of discussing this for way too long and kind of diminishing the time saving value of AI. So I'm not sure if I want to go that route if I were at your place and didn't have any other option. Does that help a little bit?
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Thank you. Yeah, I don't necessarily believe that there's like a right or wrong answer. I just wanted to kind of, I appreciate your answer, by the way. I just wanted to see how people kind of view it, because at the end of the day, like just from a network architecture perspective, like using a tool like Otter AI, that's being stored somewhere out there in a third-party database somewhere. And like ethics wise is probably not the cleanest, but I'm not here to judge anybody. Of course, one can do as they wish, but I would probably, I don't mean any sort of scare tactic, but using such AIs, I would probably inform the customer first and because they find out and they're not okay with it, that's a quick lawsuit, and that's probably something that we're all trying to avoid.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much, guys.
No, thank you. That was a great, great question and a great discussion. And it's something that we probably don't really think about that often. But since we do often deal with people, we're all in different places right now. So that was a very good question. Go ahead, Taylor.
Yeah. Hey, Simon, I think it is. I don't know. I'm just stalking you on Twitter.
That's yeah.
No, that's really interesting actually that you brought that up. I used to write when I was a tech writer. I wrote a lot about like data compliance, a lot of the implications around GDPR and CCPA in California and all of that. So I think it's like fascinating, kind of the intersection between all of this, the GPT and like natural language processing and how that stores data in terms of the larger AI picture. And I think that there's two sides of the coin. I think it's the conversation is literally just starting around data compliance with some of these AI and like futuristic tools, and at the same time, on the other side of the coin, it's almost like it's too late. We should have been talking about this like months ago, because like you said, it is just lawsuits waiting to happen, especially for some of these like bigger business walled gardens that are going to be bringing some of this in. I'm really interested to know like what the implications could look like as well, from like even a search perspective. I know that like Microsoft's Bing has announced that it plans to build out a product that uses AI and like the GPT model for search. And if that's the case, that, correct me if I'm wrong, for anyone who knows, but like I would assume that that means that data is not only being like parsed and interpreted by these machine learning models, but it's also being stored somewhere. So that introduces like an entirely new layer to like data consent and accepting cookies and all of that. So I don't really have like one answer, but I just wanted to share those are some of my thoughts about it. I think that the conversation is just going to start, it's getting started now, and it's only going to get louder over the next few months as the actual like legal implications of it all starts to take shape.
Yeah, no, that's true, especially with Microsoft. Yeah, they weren't thinking about it. I think they're doing it now, right? So where they're going to integrate it with Bing. And yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what happens with not only that, but all these different products that have the apps that in platforms that are already have it integrated within them. What, how is this going to happen? We're going to have to register on each one, and it's just wild. I don't know how that works. Jordan, do you know how to explain that, or if anybody in the audience knows, if you work in one of those fields, like how will that affect things, and do you think it will happen sooner, or where there will be disruption with people who have integrated, like using the API? I guess open API, that's not going to be a charge other than what is already there for, it's pretty low, I think, if you're using that API for certain things, right? But for the chat GPT function through a open API, how would that work for apps that have for the pro plan? Does that make sense? Anybody? I would like to know that.
Yeah. So when it comes to putting AI in apps, the question is, can AI really flow into the app well? And I'll give you an example with blockchain. Blockchain and Web3 have been like the biggest thing happening, since ChatGPT, of course. But the domain skyrocketed. Like there was so much going on, and there will be more stuff going on. Like maybe some of the cryptocurrencies would crash. That's fine. But in general, the domain is going strong. But what currently happens in Web3 is, because so many investors are throwing money around at anything that just mentions Web3, like if you have blockchain in your startup, then you're going to get more cash for it. People are starting, they're not starting, they already started years ago to put blockchain and Web3 technologies, and even stuff you could hear that like a few years ago about VR in absolutely anything you can imagine. And the issue with that is it was the technology before the problem. There was no problem that this was solving. And right now we're going to see this happening with AI. We're going to see AI everywhere. and you're already starting to see that. This would mostly be annoying for a bit, like it's not going to affect us too much because you can always not use the AI features. The negative effect of that is going to be pricing because they will include AI's pricing in their monthly plans, whoever offers that. And this, although using it from the Open Labs system is very cheap, when it comes to using it from Jasper, for example, the price can get significant to actually play with it. And I wouldn't expect too many of the AI power tools to be super useful. Like right now, even if we look at like the hundreds of different AI tools that appeared in the last 3 months, very few of them are practically useful. A lot of them are fun. They are experiments that might lead to something extremely valuable and useful, but very few of them are kind of worth revisiting every single day. And this is normal. Like we're just pioneering a field. Like this is going to happen. So how is this going to look long term? Long term, when things start settling, AI is going to be one of the different tools that we use to solve problems. Sometimes you'd have to do something by hand. Sometimes you have something assisting your hand in some way or form. And sometimes you have this absolutely automated and doing a decent job by itself. And we're going to see this applied to more and more domains. And this is kind of the next, I would say, 10 years very easily. The biggest shift that I think is going to happen is after we get several new iterations into ChatGPT. Like they're currently building the fourth one, which is insane compared to what we had before. Like it has trillions of parameters, and this one has billions, so it is a night and day difference in terms of accuracy. And also the different tools for generating music and art. Those are going to be the few big leaps that we're going to see in the next years, and those are going to change some professions fundamentally because why hire 30 artists when you can hire 5 artists and get them to finish up AI's work, for example. And in those cases, like in some mediocre production companies, we'll see a big difference. But in everything that is high quality, super valuable, and premium, we won't see much of it. And with solo creators, as a lot of us are, we're going to see so many new opportunities because all of this AI can allow anyone to sit down and create almost anything without needing to go through learning every single one of the skills that we need to create it. You don't need to be an artist to have an art piece next to your Twitter thread. You don't need to be an animator to create an animation, and so on. And this is really, really powerful.
No, that's a good point. It absolutely, and I do think though that people often don't realize the effort that even though you don't have to necessarily have a degree in computer science and data science, or in you have a certification as a UI UX designer, it still takes quite a bit of skill. It's not an easy thing to get what you want to appear on, for whatever, especially for images. So, and there's also a lot still. I have yet to see anything that produce output that I would really use word for word in any particular platform, because I always have to change, adjust the grammar and spelling, and usually it's just kind of doesn't sound. It's good. It's a good starting point, but I can't see how that would copying and pasting. But I think there's just a lot of animosity from some spaces. And Javi Lopez was talking about how much hate he got from people that were just really upset about him posting about Midjourney and doing different things with AI generated images. And he was saying how he just couldn't understand, like, why were they so, like, so vitriol. It was just so horrible. And I was testing an app today that I was going to talk about, and it was the one that pulls the top tweets. It's like it's that Perplexity AI. They have a tool called SQL, Bird SQL, and it can pull top tweets based on the text search that's entered into Twitter. And I put top 10 Midjourney tweets this week, and I saw the first one was somebody that was talking about Javi and how dare he have this, how they're he had the audacity to say that typing in words was the same thing as being an artist. And he was just saying how hurt he was because he just posts things all the time. He's very helpful, and he's not saying that he is trying to take anybody's position. But I was wondering to myself, I wonder if this person has ever sat down and tried to actually create something in Midjourney. They probably see that, if you don't know what you're doing, it's not that simple. And there are a lot of little technical things that you're not going to get. I tried to, generate images last week for a woman who wanted books for her grandson's birthday. She wanted to illustrate his books, and she wanted certain things in there. And I tried as much as I could, but to get what she wanted, she would have to have an illustrator. You can't get the AI to produce what you just because you want it. And every time you go in there, you might have a completely different output. So I think that also for writing, and people worried about chat GPT and these type of writing tools taking their jobs. And it's just kind of like they're worried about all these little things that they probably haven't really sat down and used it. If you haven't used it, you would see, I think a lot of people would see that I wouldn't be worried about it taking my job, because the output is not that great. You still have to be able to have enough common sense and the ability to use that information in a way that it benefits you, but it's not going to take I don't think it's going to take anybody's job. Go ahead, Jordan.
Okay, so one example that I came to while talking to a few friends who are fantastic artists, like they draw concept arts, both of them, very nice couple. And one example that we came to is basically imagine digital painting, like painting on an app on your iPad or on your computer, and painting on a canvas. This is kind of the difference that we're seeing right now. It's a different approach towards the same thing. And some things are very, very easy with the new approach, but some things are harder. When it comes to like some of those minute details, when you're doing them on a canvas, it's a completely different, physical feeling. When you're doing them even on an iPad with a pen, it's different. Like it's more difficult. And when it comes to creating a nice gradient between two colors, like mixing them perfectly in just the way you need that, you can do that on a canvas, and it will take you a while. You have to play with it and so on. In an app, this is more difficult. It takes more time, and you might not get the same results, especially if you want to print that later on. But AI is kind of in exactly that same position. If you want to do something very, very specific, for some things, it's going to give you like 80-90% of the result of the bat with almost no knowledge. And for some other things, you'd have to play with a lot of different things. Like, for example, you can adjust the weight of every single word in Midjourney, and you can, prompt engineer this for, you know, a good amount of time. You can prompt engineer that kind of a complicated piece for several weeks if you want to do it with only Midjourney. If you add other tools and other skills to this, it can be easier and you can have more options. But again, we're kind of stuck with the skills of someone and the time of someone who is going to, one, engineer this, or two, engineer this and then add other skills like design or painting and whatnot. So with the current AI's capabilities, I don't think anyone is in that much trouble. In like 40, 50 versions of Midjourney, I will be a little bit concerned, yes, for a lot of jobs. But I think we have a lot of time until then, so let our kids worry about it.
No, yeah, you're right. Mid-journey is one thing, and even in mid-journey, you can have completely drastically different results from even within the same grid of output. And you just really never know what you're going to get. You can try as much as you can, but you're not going to be able to repeat it. And then when you try outside of mid-journey, it's completely different on any stable diffusion um, models. And it's just, I think it just takes a lot more understanding. And I think there's so much opportunity for people who, like me, I don't have an art background, a creative background, but I'm able to create things that based on just knowing how these things work together and seeing all the different, the way there's just so much technology out there. And I think that we're still discovering how we can use it. And I've been blessed with getting early access to Leonardo AI, for instance. That's fabulous. And I think they're going to be rolling that out for everybody. They'll be opening up access in the next couple of weeks. It's just extraordinary. It's beyond, they have multiple models on there for their AI, the image generation. You can train models. I don't even know how to do that, but I will be doing that soon. They have prompt generators and prompt enhancers, and you can upscale, do everything right there. Remove the background. You can remove the background while you're in the image editor, while you're after you generate the image. You can have it generate extra prompts for you. And just if you type in, I want a yellow bird, it'll generate 4 different prompts that you can choose from that are, more extensive, and you can use those or you can edit those. So they have the in painting. There's just so much stuff in there. The Orbify is another. That one is that's an amazing app. It's a platform that they are. It's let me read it because it's their. They're established in it's like a social tokenization system for the metaverse, and it's an AI generated content layer for Web3, metaverse, and online communities. And it's just really something else. It's you have to. I'm gonna have to drop the link in there so you guys can go look at this site because they just have so much. It's so interesting because you can just go in and it kind of looks like, was it Disney in Infinity or something like that? That game where you can kind of like build the worlds or something like that, where you can build whatever kind of community you want based on, it doesn't have to be, it could be a game, it could be just a social place, and you join with a community. People can come and you'll have rules and whatever. So that it's just really something. And but it's going to be where it's opening it out, and they want to be able to have it accessible to people on your phone. So you can just do all this, and you can build game assets. You can mint NFTs. You can exchange, like the tokens are part of like a community building type thing, or it's also used as currency. You can get your gear and other assets for your own avatar within there. You can build your avatar. It's just pretty cool. Scenario, they're doing the game assets, the community that is really just popping up there. But Scenario, they have the generative AI for the 2D games, and they are doing all kinds of really cool things. I love that site. Luma AI is another one. They have photoreal game assets. You can export 3D assets with your phone to any game engine, build it on there and do that. So they have an API, so you can use API imports for your game development. You can use the API for the e-commerce and AR, and for the what's it, the neural what's the nerf. I apologize, Jordan. You have to say that. You can use the API for nerf renders in your workflow. Did you want to say something, Jordan?
Yeah, so one thing that I think many people are kind of sleeping on when it comes to all of those game assets is it is now easier than ever to rotoscope. And rotoscope is basically removing the background from people in videos. Like you can use AI to do it for you. And believe me, when it comes to Hollywood, this is one of the most expensive things because you have to carefully, like, imagine removing the photo with a little bit of a little brush in like in paint, and you have to color everything white. You have to do something similar in video, frame by frame, when you're doing this in Hollywood. Some assistance from the software, but it's very difficult. Now we can do this automatically, and this is very powerful because you can pick yourself up and create a virtual world using one of those uh, AI tools, a virtual game world, and put yourself in there. And you can create infinite places for you to visit by just using AI. And for example, if you don't have different majestic environments to show on video, if you want to be unique in some way, you can use that to create very interesting videos showing places that people have genuinely never seen because they're new and you created them, and only use tools that are currently just now being released, which is fantastic.
Now that's a good point, Jordan, because the removing the background, that so much of that, I was kind of amazed when I was using Leonardo and it was doing that. But because yeah, it just takes off of its own AI generated image. You can remove the background. Like I had a wolf that was on a desk. Somebody was like drawing it on the desk. That's what the image generated. I just had it remove it. It took it completely off. It wasn't where it had part of the neck was still attached to the, or it had a little bit. It was really good. And there's the 3D, the way that you can move these things around too, where you can kind of like even some of the apps on your phone. I noticed there's certain ones where it'll just kind of like pull you. Let's say you're leaning back on a wall. It makes it look like you're, the perspective is different. Like you have a shadow behind you. You can kind of move you around some in that way. That's yeah, that's something else. Also, the voice. There's a lot of voice changers and voice marketplaces. I wasn't aware that there was that much of a need. And I'm actually just signed up for something for last night. And it's meta voice. You can change your voice for the metaverse, and you have to get on the waiting list for that. And it's really interesting because they said that way you can say you can get your a different voice for Discord, so people can't tell you carry that voice around with you, and it's like personalized for you. Not sure, like for different online reasons, like say I guess you don't a female wanted to have a male voice for whatever reason, or we know if they're in certain areas that might be a good idea. If you're with a group of people online and you don't want them to know, you're a female. It's interesting, but there's a lot of that. A lot of the music, there's the characters, a lot of the character AI, that's quite interesting. We were hearing about deep fakes and things like that before, and now it's like, well, I think it'd be pretty easy to do it at this point if they're not already. Taylor, did you have your hand up, or did anybody? I don't want to keep talking and let if I'm missing somebody because I'm looking around at all these different things, but there's just so much stuff out there that we're animating. I've been using different animators, Kyber. What's just a little bit the frame to frame. Jordan can explain that, Kyber and Genmo. But to this morning, I used Leapix, and the Leapix converter. That is very interesting. I wasn't able to finish working on that before I got on this space, but that is wild. It adds it. That's just I have to show you. It's just really wild. But go ahead, whoever wanted to say something.
Okay, so first of all, Kyber and like the AI image generation when it comes to animations is kind of in its early stage. Now, currently they're just generating one AI frame using the last frame as a reference. So there is a lot of weird transformations of the subject happening, but this is going to be a matter of time before they make this amazing. Like even with current stuff that is currently out there, NVIDIA, the video card company, are absolutely massive when it comes to AI for customer facing purposes, for solving actual problems, not just generating new stuff. And they do a lot of stuff with AI. Two of their biggest projects that they announced and released for free for everyone to use. They're very techy to use, so they're not super practical. But one of it is eye modification. So instead of you looking at your screen or to the side while in video calls, they literally move your eyes in a way that it looks like you're looking the other person in the eye. And this is just going to make calls more intimate and feel better. Although technically they'll be less intimate because it will be less of you if you think about it. But anyway, the other technology that they released that can be combined with something like Kyber and create some insane animations is they and this happened already years ago. Like this is not new. This is I think 2 years old, but they created a video call technology that can work on 2G or even worse connectivity with perfect, not perfect, but extremely high quality. And how they do it is they basically send one picture, and all video calls need to send, several pictures per second so you can see an animation. They send one picture, and then they send transformations, and the picture animates using AI, and it is extremely convincing. And this is already old tech. Like they could they probably have 2 or 3 more versions of this in the works that are even more fascinating than this. And imagine, being anywhere in the world and getting video calls with anyone with no delays, with no, waiting around. This is just going to be so much easier for many countries which don't have that strong, internet connection. And yeah, this can be absolutely massive. And Heather, at the end, if we have a second, I can tell you how you can practically use AI to join the Illuminati, which I think is going to be an interesting story for people who want to join the Illuminati and have fun.
Yeah, I'm not going there. Didn't we have this? Was this conversation going on a couple weeks last month in on one of these spaces?
Yeah,
So,
that
yeah,
one.
I'm good. My phone cut out for that one, thank goodness. But I'm just right now I'll settle for the metaverse. I'm cool with that. I wasn't into the game assets, but now I am because it's just so amazing the stuff that's available, and it's not just gaming. But I saw something. Is it Syntinem where it changes your face, the facial recognition? I was trying to wrap my head around that. Maybe when Simon comes back from the cybersecurity, where yeah, you can change your it changes your whole face. I just it's something about I'm not even sure. I'll just leave it alone. I can't explain it well enough unless somebody else wants to say something about that. But I do want to mention really fast before I forget is that Easy Peasy AI, they added a chat GPT function. I wrote about that earlier this week, and it's free right now while it's in the beta. It's not using chat GPT, it's kind of similar, but Easy Peasy AI in Go Charlie. Go Charlie also has a new feature where before it was mostly they had AI writing and different things like that, but they have this campaign and a click feature where it's you can repurpose your content into multiple different styles. And I think I tweeted about that yesterday, and that is I got a chance to use that before they launched it, and it's very good. It uses a chat GPT type of a GPT technology, where it pulls in this information and it gives it to you in a nice format. I love it when it's already formatted. So does Easy Peasy AI, but both of those sites have image generation and all kinds of copywriting templates, and now they have this full suite of writing that's added on top of it's separate from what you're paying for if you have a subscription for their regular plans. So I just wanted to mention that to everybody. Go ahead, Taylor.
Yeah, so I've just been like saving all my all my inputs for this moment, because I've been throughout this spaces chat, I've been playing around in Decipher. I mentioned it earlier, that I was you told me about it this week, and I was like, let me just try and run this thing through it. So I finally got my results, and like, holy cow, I'm kind of blown away. Like, I'm a little bit shocked. I haven't seen a tool that does it this well in quite a while. So it's really cool to see not only like literally you could take any audio. This is what I've found anyway so far. Just take the audio file, drop it in there. It uploads it. It takes a little while for it to understand and learn what it's about, but then it spits out like a summary, an abstract, all of the timestamps with what's happening at each of those timestamps. And my favorite part is it actually has like a whole highlights section, and it's pretty accurate. One of the challenges that I've had with a lot of AI technology is that it's kind of hit and miss. It really obviously depends on how well the AI is trained, or how well you are able to like deliver that context to it. But rarely do I come across one where I'm just, playing around with it, don't really have to lift a finger, and it just like it comes in and slaps me in the face with this amazing output. So it's really cool to see stuff like that. Um, yeah, so I think that's awesome. That was one of my points. And then the other one of my points that I wanted to mention, earlier, we were talking about like different use cases. You had mentioned the storybook, the storybook that you were working on. Heather, and it reminded me there's somebody that I've been talking to now. I think she's in Discord, and she's been talking about doing this. Her name is Row Rocket. So if any of you are in there, you can go say hi to her, because what she's doing is really cool. She's creating a comic book series. All with AI generative art as the characters. With this comic book series is meant to educate others on, what many would consider maybe like a boring or kind of a dry topic, but it's like cybersecurity and web security. So she's a cybersecurity technologist professional and is creating this series to help bring some fun and entertainment while also educating people. So I've got to kind of look behind the curtain and see how she's been developing these characters throughout this process as she creates each sort of mini series as part of it. And it's really interesting to watch how, it unfolds on Midjourney, and then how you can layer your different AI tools as part of that as well. So it's like you take your images or your output from Midjourney, and then you take it into Dolly, and you do some editing and removing parts of the image, or you use it as a seed for your next prompt. Or what I've just recently discovered, literally, and I think Ricardo T, he's on this call, he taught me about this literally this week, was the new blend mode in Midjourney. I don't know if any of you have messed around with that yet, but oh my God, I'm like, that between blend mode in Midjourney and this whole decipher realization, I'm in like AI heaven this week, because blend mode is so cool. I didn't for the longest time, you couldn't really like upload, or there was no easy way in Midjourney to like replicate an output based on an image, unless you uploaded the image and then you used that uploaded image to then reference it in your prompt. And it's a whole process. It's possible. But now with blend mode, it literally just lets you upload up to 4 images, I think it is, in Midjourney in your prompt, and then it blends those together. So I was testing it on like selfies of myself last night. It's fun, you guys. You should definitely check that one out if you haven't yet. That's all I have for now,
Oh
Heather.
no,
Sorry
yeah,
for the
I've been
rant.
so wrapped up in Leonardo and
I
although
know, and I'm so
but I
jealous.
have been in
I can't wait to get my
mid
hands
journey
on it.
still, but I saw the blend mode and I completely forgot about it, honestly. um but yeah.
It's so
Oh
cool. It's like
man.
next level. It really is.
Oh,
It's
that
cool.
would be, man, that would be cool. Well,
I
talking
know.
about mid journey, people wondering if they're not into creating that stuff, how a lot of people are using it for thumbnails and logos. There's some really cool threads, and I've seen some articles recently on how to make your logos, and how, or if you have a client, and you can go ahead and you get the information, and then teaching you how you would put the prompt, build that prompt to offer your clients a unique logo that doesn't have words or things like that, but it gives you another marketable skill. There's a lot of lately I've been seeing more UI use cases where at first people said, well, what good is it for people to use Midjourney to, for product design, and you can't really, or a mock-up, you can't really recreate it, but it's the colors and the way that the layout is. And I think I retweeted something, Justin, he did a really good 2-part series on how he actually developed their um, website based off of Midjourney, and using different ideas in taking the background in, like you said, in painting, and doing, I don't even know if I'm saying it right, but there are so many options now for removing the background, merging, blending, image to image. There's just so much stuff that you can do. And even on basic sites like Tiny Wows, doing something on Tiny Wow last night, or freeconverter.com, you can do a lot of those image adjustments on there, as if it's like a Canva or Photoshop. They have Tiny Wow has a whole AI writing section. I don't know if anybody ever uses that. It's one of my favorite free sites. But they have, you can print a FAQ, blog titles. It'll do all, and that's all free. You don't even have to have a you don't have to register for Tiny Wild, but a lot of these sites, it's just popping up everywhere where they're just multi-purpose. You don't even have to leave. Simplified is one like that. Photor. Um, there's there's several that have just, as you go. Runway ML, oh my goodness, the Runway has like 1,000 things you can do on there. And I just saw where they said the movie, everything, every little thing everywhere. I don't, is that the name of that movie? They used Runway for some of their stuff, and I know my daughter has seen that. But I apologize that I'm talking over everybody. I wanted to open up. Thank you, everybody who's come in the room since we started. And I appreciate everybody coming and spending some time with us. And the Stoic Philo, I saw that you won the book giveaway yesterday, right? So, congratulations. Thank you all so much. And I'm sorry that I don't have a ton of things to talk about new. It's just there's just so many things. And I'm going to just please feel free to look in the comments of this. Look at my profile. I'm not trying to blow myself up, but I try to write something every day about AI art and different GPT or other productivity products, just so that as I find them out, there's no point in just waiting and putting it into a thread. I'm just trying to get it out there because there's so much information, and then people can offer, like with that Twitter bio, Birdie. They just happened to see in the comments somebody tagged them and said, "Hey, Birdie, you should look at this for yours," and that's how they were able to integrate it so quickly. So that's really, I enjoy sharing this information with each other, everybody. And thank you. We're going to continue doing this on Fridays. I guess on Fridays it works out. It's a not too bad of a time, and this will be recorded. Please send this to your friends. If you want to like tweet it out, DM them, or just even commenting in the chat, I'd appreciate it. In that way, it gets let people know what we're talking about in here, so that they can see next time. Hey, maybe I can join, or just listen to the recording. It will be recorded. Um, Taylor, I wanted to tell everybody, because we are starting this 12-week cohort because of this type of atmosphere that we have here, where we're trying to just kind of share information and understand how to use things kind of more like a hive mind, instead of just one of us or a few of us knowing different things. And it's hard on Twitter to find people. You want to grow and you want to create. So we were trying to find ways to build like a collective community so that we can share these resources all the time. And Taylor came up with a great idea to have like a community building 12-week cohort, so that we could all like just kind of have weekly spaces. And then even within like MySpace, I'm talking about it because it's a great thing, and I'm putting resources into this community, so it's free for anybody can join. And it's in discourse. Is Taylor is the editor of the Sauce. She has so much experience in all over social media marketing and journalism, writing, brand development, um, you know our image,
Thank you, Heather.
everything. I mean, like, she's just honestly ask her how to do anything. She gave me she has tutorials. They have so much information for what, like the how to do a proposal, how to for create a creative proposal for somebody, like the woman that I was going to do the book illustrations for. I was like, I don't really know what am I supposed to say. So, hey, Taylor has she has a YouTube video and a downloadable Canva template, or you can get a PDF of it. so, so it's like,
Mm-hmm.
man, there's just all this information, and we all have different information and experience and skills that we can share with others. There's no reason for us to compete if we can all kind of bring it together. So I'll let Taylor explain what's going on, and please, I invite anyone here to join in with that too. So I'll be teaching some courses and doing workshops and hosting spaces for that too, along with other people
Yes.
who have all kinds of different backgrounds.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Heather. Yeah, it's going to be a really fun thing. We had our first kickoff announcement about this whole project yesterday, and just was met with incredible, overwhelming response. And part of it was just the realization that we're all out here on Twitter, we're all creating stuff, we've all got content to put out, but at the end of the day, like we're all working towards the same goal. It can be really hard to kind of find that sense of community, even though we're all kind of in different like niches and things like that. So like, how do we bring that all together? Because outside of just a social platform, sometimes, especially when you're working alone, it can get lonely and you can kind of silo yourself into a vacuum. So that's kind of how this thing came together, is to just like establish that sense of camaraderie and community while we learn about it together, because that's what we're trying to do. All of us really is like we're focused on building audiences, we're focused on creating better, more optimized, more impactful content, and we're focused on building communities, especially people who can connect in meaningful ways, can actually advocate and like invest in you. So what we're doing is like over the next 12 weeks, and Heather being such a cornerstone piece of this, I'm so grateful to you and all of your knowledge, to help bring this thing together, because I think that's what this is all about, is having the collective hive mind, share and represent all of the different facets and components of what we're all doing. But it's totally organic. It's a free to join community building experiment or experience, if you want to call it that, where like we're not only just building, growing this creative community together, but really like giving everyone a chance who's part of this the opportunity to kind of like learn and share and have a platform. People who otherwise maybe don't know about like what does it mean to get into AI or into Web3 or growing audiences, like where do you start that journey? So the idea is that we can bring people together, to kind of collaboratively support that and share in it and have a crew of people we can fall back on every week and just digest everything that's going on together. So it'll be 12 weeks long. You can really sign up at any point in time, but I think I put a link on my I'm looking right now on my on my Twitter feed somewhere. I know it's in my bio, so the link is definitely in my bio, so you can hit it there. But I need to pin that up at the top of my profile. Lessons learned. But we'll be doing some really cool stuff throughout this whole experience. There's going to be, we're going to be doing Twitter Spaces every week, every Thursday, that everyone's welcome to participate in. Also, just started up a community on Twitter to just high level announcements. So anyone who's already signed up for this cohort, I'm adding you guys to the community. So most of you should have gotten an invite already if you did sign up, if you're here. But yeah, we'll be doing some workshops and creator sessions as well. So Heather, you're going to be able to dish out on all of your knowledge when it comes to AI and how to like level up your creator skills by using some of this technology that's available to us. Jordan, you're here. You're in it as well. So I'm hoping we get to pick your brain one of these days on these sessions too, because I know you have
Anytime.
so much value, and especially some of the technical side that I don't even understand, but I would love to dig into. So people from every level, every walk of creatorhood is welcome to join. We're doing this thing together, building a community, and it's part experiment and part learning collaborative cohort. So hop in, join it, and I hope to see you guys there. It's going to be a really fun time. Thank you, Heather, for giving me that spotlight.
No, thank you for explaining that, because it's such a great idea. Because it's kind of like, why didn't we already do this? Why is everything have to be so separated? And no, even having spaces, it's like it's a mystery. Half of the things that we do on the space, I still cannot figure out how to put a tweet into the top of the nest thing or whatever. you know.
I found that
Oh,
out.
thank
I can
you.
share it
Yeah.
with you. I just need to record a
Oh
screen
my
recording
goodness.
of
Yeah,
it
it's like,
though.
why is it?
Um,
Why does it have?
but
Let's see.
it's there's definitely a workaround.
Okay.
It's a hidden
Okay.
feature.
But yeah, why is it hidden? You can only, for anyone who's wondering, you can only use operate a space from your phone. You cannot do it from your computer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of challenging, because right now I have a tripod that I'm in, a microphone that I'm talking into, and then I'm looking at my computer and typing things. So it's just little things like that, where just having some information, it doesn't necessarily say that clearly when you look it up on Twitter, the Twitter help. kind of trial and error, and you're wondering how come I can't find that button on the computer. But for whatever reason, I
Yep.
guess it makes it easier for people to have a space whenever they want, just for a community spirit. But if nobody really understands how to do it, that doesn't necessarily help. But yeah, we want to share tips like that for everybody. Like, how do you pin something to the top of your profile? People may not really understand that. That's like the three dots up there. There's a lot of
Exactly.
things we take for granted that we assume that other people know, and they don't. And a lot of these tools that I was using, I just like to play around with stuff and see what I can do. And I don't even realize half of the things that you can do with them until I read about somebody else doing it. So that with that sharing of ideas is crucial. And then we can think about, I write on Medium. What can I do for that? What have I seen here? And let's all share, that kind of thing. Ooh, Taylor got the thank you for putting that up there.
I did it. I
Uh,
was literally recording the screen as I did it, so I'm gonna tweet this out
Perfect. Thank you
after.
so much. Yeah, I saw it up
Yeah, no
here.
worries.
But I wanted to say Vega. You had you mentioned that you saw somebody that created a character, animated it, and created a script, text to voice with different sites. Full character, animated, narrated, scripted, completely created with AI. And yes, I've seen several of those, and I know that Linus Enkenstam, he has done some Javi. I don't know if Javi Lopez has, but there's been quite a few people, especially around that scenario, the gaming platform or the game asset platform, and there Luma, and people have been using Midjourney. Some people have been using Leonardo that have had early access. They're using DID. There's a bunch of different ones. There's also the AI apps that create characters. You could just have it create a whole character, names, develop them out, then write that story for them or give you ideas like about their characteristics. And Orbify just has all, I mean, it's just, you please, I put that link, go to their profile on Twitter and just spend some time looking. You'll probably, I get so like caught up in the moment with the 3D, that orb that's there, and Orbify is all here. Did you want to say something? I would love for you to explain. You could explain it better. The metaverse, it's so cool. I'm gonna send the microphone to you just in case. I really hope so, because you guys really, this is just amazing. What's going on Orbify? I'm so excited to get in there and get my community started. Let me know if you get the mic. Hopefully, I sent it to you. And but there's all these different things that you can do now, that you can combine all these things together to create a whole video game with characters, voices, everything. Also, let me see. That was Vegas, Stoic Philo. I see what you were saying there about the GPT and automation being the new content creation framework. I totally agree with you on that, because it is increasing creativity, the IQ. It's getting competitive faster. And just in my own, um, what I've been doing, I've been creating a lot of stuff that I never would have thought possible. So I agree that I think it's not necessarily competitive, or it's definitely faster, but people, it's kind of like who's willing to learn how to do it, who's not, who's willing to learn how to utilize this stuff. And I just figured, why not? um, did I send it Orbify? I keep sending you the mic, but I guess did not. I don't want to put you on the spot, but thank you for coming in. Please, if you see that profile there, go to it and check it out, and you'll see what I mean, because it's more than what you're thinking, most likely, unless you're familiar with that type of concept. But it's pretty new. Social tokenization and community building, and opening it up for everybody. It's to make it accessible for anybody to be able to participate in that, in the online community. So, let me send you. I see you requesting. Let me explain. Okay. Okay, go ahead. You can please explain better than I did. You got the mic? Oh, just turned it on. Okay.
There you go.
Thank you.
Can you
Yeah.
can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Oh, awesome! First of all, I'm just saying thank you so much for the introduction, for the initiative. Very much appreciated. And hey, everybody, I'm glad to connect with you all. I think Heather gave a really good introduction already around what we are building and what is the vision in a nutshell. But pretty much, to go back to the basics, right? To take a couple steps back, and a couple of steps forward at the same time. We know where the internet is going. Thankfully, all AI generative tool just empower imagination, especially once we combine it with virtual words. Considering that the internet, the 2D internet as we know it right now, is converting slowly into a 3D internet. And having this kind of AI generated tool is just gonna boost it to the next level. In a nutshell, we want to be empowering people to just fully unleash their imagination and create their own virtual worlds. But the main idea is that we want people to just create their own, the full blown virtual worlds in a matter of seconds, perhaps minutes. And here, sort of, for us to actually describe and define what a virtual world is, of course, it all starts with the terrain, with the assets that are built on top, any kind of buildings, cars, NPCs, people. Of course, they need to be playable, but at the same time, they need to be a certain sustainable economy. For example, as an example, I'm a big fan of basketball. I would love to build my own basketball virtual world. I would love to just build it in minutes. I created with it its own social token, and that's what we mean by tokenization. So we tokenize AI generated content as well as membership. So in a nutshell, these are what orbs at the core are virtual worlds that are fully built by AI with their own economies that people build themselves and sustain themselves. So it's in a nutshell. So we have a long way to go. Right now, we are building our own generative tools. We're actually releasing them soon, in about a couple of weeks max. And we've been building our own model, literally from the ground up. But of course, thanks to Stable Diffusion, we've been fine tuning a lot of the best content out there into Stable Diffusion. And we are releasing a model called Blue Sky, Orbify Blue Sky. And pretty much, so that's the first use case we are launching so that people can create their own content and tokenize it. And for people who wonder what is the purpose of tokenization, why even put AI content onto the blockchain? It's mainly for the two things: ownership. We want people to own the asset that they create, own the prompt that they use. And second thing is incentives, right, and monetization for people who perhaps would love to monetize that. That's a really good, I would say, use case for tokenization and blockchain-based systems. Um, in a nutshell, it's a beautiful marriage that we're combining between AI, blockchain, and metaverse and virtual worlds. And yeah, we're super excited. And Heather, love to thank you again. And I'll give you back the mic.
Thank you. Thank you for explaining it because I know I can't do it justice. And when I first, I had to um, DM him because I thought I was looking at the site and I kind of kept getting distracted. Like, wait, what is this? And I don't know. I'm not. I'm not really familiar much with Web3 and all that. And but it's kind of like when I understood what they were saying, and it's like, yeah, let it be for everybody. And when people are, a lot of people are upset with like I was talking about Javi Lopez getting a lot of hate about AI generated images, and I know there's a lot of people who feel that it's disrespectful and it's taking jobs and it's stealing, and I know there's lawsuits right now. Getty Images and different artists that are taking companies to court for their theft of their I'm probably going to say it wrong, but I apologize. But what I'm saying is, for as far as taking work from people and not crediting artists and I understand completely what they're saying because there's no way that their artwork or that any images that are available online were not used to to train these models. But that being said, with the ability to the tokenization and just to be able to the ownership of that, it seems like that might help give you a little bit more um, uh, a little bit more to stand on to give you so that it'd be, I guess, digital. I'm not sure how that identification would work, but it seems like it would give you a little bit more to a tangible way to hold on to what is yours and having that ownership over, as far as I understood that for NFTs and how that would work. So I think I'm all for that because it empowers everybody, and I want to keep it equal and accessible for everybody. Um, does anybody, I want to open up or any other questions? I don't want to keep going without checking the room here. Does anybody have anything they want to say? Any questions? Let me refresh my window for the chat. And please feel free, everyone, we're using the chat at the bottom too. If you want to put any information in there, you can put images. If you have an example of, like what Vega was saying about the game, somebody creating a whole entire character animation, script, text to voice, and using that. If you have an example handy, drop it into the comments or even put it in there later. I will try to add some things to it later myself. I have to watch because I seem to have had some issues with my uh, tweets displaying, and I have no idea why, but I don't want to put too much in there. So anybody that I feel, I'd appreciate if anybody else could drop that in there so I don't get put on any more kind of ban list or whatever. George just helped me figure that out yesterday. But anybody have any questions? And let me look around. We good? We can close it out then, I guess. If there are no questions, I'm looking. Thank you so much from Orbify and all of my friends. Rob Funson, thank you so much for coming. I don't know if I don't see her here, but the Stoic Philo, thank you for coming. And I guess that you have you won. I'll be seeing more of you in our Discord channel for the sauce. And hopefully all of you're all welcome, please, to join that. The more the merrier. Orbify too. Come on in there. See, we'd love to have some information, please. Because it's just so much out there. Please share the information. It's so great to have that many people that are willing to, share knowledge and resources. Just even pointing us in the right direction is helpful. Honestly, just to, I spend half the time looking around just trying to find out how you do something when there's somebody who if I could just ask that question, you could throw out questions. And we also are going to be doing, like, if you want to collaborate on certain things or maybe even a job, if you need a designer. Rob Funson is a designer. He's awesome. And I keep forgetting to say this, but he designed my avatar. Well, he styled my avatar, my profile picture, and he created my banner. I gave him a image I generated in Midjourney, and it's like a dark green orb that's spinning or something like that. And gave it back to me, and it was like gold with transparent gold. Added in the words, the intelligent visuals. He helped me with my bio. He's like the Twitter bio, but he's an exceptional artist. And also, if you look at his profile picture and his banner, he designed it himself. And he's just, please, give him some love. If you need some help with something like that, he is very good. He helped me out with another client project, which was, thank you so much. And he convinced the client. He gave him a different image that looked a little bit better than the image that he wanted us to use for his profile picture. And he didn't want it at first, but he did change it eventually because Rob said it just highlights his face a little bit better. But so he's really good. But just for me, us knowing each other, that's how I found out that he is actually a artist. And there's a bunch of people with different skills. Jordan is the video, and he's honestly, Jordan is so good on video, and he knows everything about just a long form videos, short form videos, reels, how to title them, how to open them, a hook for them. I didn't even know you needed a hook, but you do, right, Jordan? And Jordan's putting out threads every day. He writes like 2 or 3 threads a day that teach you all kinds of things. He can show you a walkthrough of Midjourney and how to animate different characters or different different images, and adding and blending things. And so Taylor is already, we know she has many skills on top of, like, because you also know quite a bit of image. You know, you were able to, you do quite a bit for that too. Oh, Hero, I see somebody with a I'm sorry, I missed your request for the mic. I'll let you speak down when you get that. But yeah, we just want to make sure we all just spend some time. If you see somebody you like, follow this person here, and please feel free to come back here and comment, DM me, and we'll have a discussion. Go ahead, Hero. Did you want to speak?
Oh yeah, thanks for the opportunity to speak.
No problem.
Yeah, so I just want to make a comment. Thank you so much for this space. I have been listening for quite a while, and I have learned a lot, and it's so fun listening to you guys speak and talk about artificial intelligence. And you have mentioned what some people have done with AI, and I just wanted to comment on the fact that AI is not really gonna replace jobs. Lots of people say AI is going to replace jobs. I think it's the people who learn to use AI to achieve their goals that are going to take the jobs, right? So you spoke of a graphic designer making graphics and then enhancing what AI has generated, right? These are really great tools that we can use for things we already do, and instead of seeing them as kind of problems, we need to look at them as opportunities to enhance our skills. There are, just imagine a very good designer and a very good AI tool. Together you can make magic, you can make anything. And sometimes for professionals who have worked for decades and decades, you might run out of ideas. There are times when you just don't know what to start, how to start on your project, right? You can prompt an AI and you can generate something, and then enhance what has been generated. So I am really glad to be a part of this conversation, and I just wanted to come up and drop my 2 cents, and I will listen to other speakers drop some value. Thank you so much.
No, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I totally agree with you on that, because it's more like, it's just exciting to all the different things you can do with it. And that when I first started writing even about Chat GPT, I just sat there and thought, man, there's so much you could do with this. And as I went, I'm like, I just kept trying different things, and even things like the meta tags for, or the meta description and the SEO title for like Medium articles. That's always the thing I hate to do, and because I can't word it correctly for the search engines. But hey, it gave me 5 options you can pick from. You can specify the number of characters you want something, and you might have to keep working at it. And there are plenty of prompt templates, and there's a lot of information out there where people, as we go, we're getting better and better and more efficient at it. And then you can merge that with something else. Why not have it give you an image prompt for something to put in? Tell it exactly what type of model you're using. Are you going to use? It may not. ChatGPT can't tell you how to prompt for Midjourney because it doesn't have the information back that far. But I've used it for emojis. Like, I've learned that emojis, I use emojis sometimes only for Midjourney prompts, and it gives you some spectacular, results. So I started asking ChatGPT to give me a list of different emojis. How would the AI understand that? How would it translate it? So that I could come up with like a list of prompts that you could use if for different emojis for different types of images. Just something that I just happened to think of while I was, creating images in Midjourney. And you've learned from other people, like I look at their prompts and the images they generate, and I copy them and have a spreadsheet. And then I kind of just tinker with them until I can kind of I make it into my own, where you use, sometimes I'll fuse, add two things together. And I try to, pay respect to that person for their originality. And I don't use artists. If I don't use an artist, if it's already integrated with a model, Like Night Cafe uses that Rakowski, the one that everybody uses, the illustrator where or the artist. And I agree that it's not. I wouldn't do that. So I'm trying really hard not to just pick even the old like a Monet or Picasso or Dali, Salvatore Dali. I just figured why not try to avoid it if I can. So I've tried to find other ways to make images that are more unique, that pay respect to everybody's abilities, and not trying to take credit for creating something and even calling it art. I try to be careful because I know it's not necessarily art, or it just depends on the interpretation. I don't want it to get lost in that conversation because people you can lose somebody just by offending them or kind of just alluding to something, and I don't want that to happen. I think that we all should just try to find ways, just like we use it AI throughout our lives already. And when you're saying, Hero, how a great artist with AI and the possibility, just think of all the newer films that have been out and even animated films since we've had this technology. I mean, people aren't complaining that Avatar, James Cameron used who know all kinds of AI. I'm sure for the latest film, but who would actually watch anything nowadays if they didn't use this technology? So the things that we interact with, our spell check, Siri, Alexa, all that, it's all AI. So we don't think about it. Autocorrect, we use it all the time. The Ring cameras, you know. So I'm glad that we have so much available, and it's almost like we're accelerating so quickly with different products that are being released. But yeah, I guess that's why we will still keep coming here. And I'm glad to see Carol. Hello. Thank you for coming. Carol is excellent videographer. She has tutorials all over her website. All over her profile for every type of filming. Just she has tips for how to get ready, how to sit, how to do your lighting. Jordan also, but Carol she's strictly more video. So thank you. And Justine, I apologize for not calling you out earlier. Justine is a good friend and she is a data scientist. I'm not sure if Justine, did you want to say anything? Because I'm probably going to call, I know Amazon, AWS. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I told Justine that she is crucial for this conversation, and I do ask her questions. If you go to her site or her profile, she talks a lot about different. Right now, she's talking about different files and the difference between the hard disk drives and the solid state drives and how the different storage requirements and things but she's been illustrating it. That's what makes it even better. So she is providing some very nice customized illustrations to show you the visual of how much data it would be equivalent to in each file, and how the different the drives work and why they are certain ones work over others. But she's using her visuals to teach us a story. She's telling us a story, and that's why I love visual design, because I think it cuts across different languages and backgrounds. And we can the more visual, we're going to remember it more, and it's just easier to understand. We process it faster. So thank you so much for, just I love talking about visuals. So I don't know why I'm so obsessed, but I'm glad that you guys are listening. But I am rambling now, so I guess it's time for us to go. So if anybody doesn't have anything else to say, it's right at 3 o'clock. I appreciate so much everybody coming here and just hanging out with us and talking and adding to the conversation. And please come back again and you listen to the recording. Add anything you'd like into the comments. If you want to add any information, links, something, if you want to add your creations, I love to see different images or different things you've created, or links to someone's that you think are it's very helpful. There's just so much out there that's just it's so cool to have so much being created right now. And every day I get excited to see like what am I going to learn today and who's doing what, and or maybe I can find the way to make something look a little bit better or do something interesting and to wow somebody, to stimulate somebody else's creativity. But thank you guys. Thank you, Jordan, for co-hosting. Taylor had to go, and we'll see everybody hopefully again. Thank you so much. Enjoy your
Thank you, everyone.
weekend. And oh, go ahead, Jordan.
I'm just thanking everyone. That's it. Thank you, people. You're amazing for coming yet again to our short and perfectly organized discussion.
I know. Thank you so much. Thank you for dealing with us. Everybody enjoy. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.